Hey guys, welcome back to Hope Semi Let's Talk. Today is chapter 22 of Jesus' life story. And it begins the plot to kill Jesus. Wonderful. Now, the feast of unleavened bread drew near, which is called Passover, and the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. Then Satan entered Judas's surname Iscariot, who was numbered among the 12. So he went his way and conferred with the chief priests and captains how he might betray him to them. And they were glad and agreed to give him money. Then he promised and sought opportunity to betray him to them in the absence of the multitudes. Jesus and his disciples prepared for the Passover. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Peter and John, saying, "Go and prepare the Passover for us, that we may eat." So they said to him, "Where do you want us to prepare?" And he said to them, "Behold, when you have entered the city, a man will meet you carrying a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house which he enters. Then you shall say to the master of the house, 'The teacher says to you, where is the guest room in which I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' Then he will show you a large furnished upper room. There make me ready." So they went and found it, as he said to them, and they prepared the Passover. Jesus institutes the Lord's Supper. And when the hour had come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. Then he said to them with fervent desire, "I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say to you, I will no longer eat of it until it is fulfilled in the kingdom of God." Then he took a cup and gave thanks to them and said, "Take this and divide it amongst yourselves. For I say to you, I will not drink the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God comes." And he took the bread, gave it thanks, and broke it, and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Likewise, he also took the cup of supper, saying, "This is the cup of the new covenant in my blood, which is shed for you. But behold, the hand of my betrayer was with me on this table. And truly the Son of Man goes as it has been determined, but woe to that man by whom he is betrayed." Then he began to question amongst themselves which of them it was who would do this thing. The disciples argue about greatness, but there was also a rivalry against them, or amongst them, as to which of them should be considered the greatest. And he said to them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordships over them, and those who exercise authority over them are called benefactors. But not to worry, but not so among you. On the contrary, he was the greatest among you. Let him be as the younger, and he who governs, he who serves. For he is the greater, he is who sits at the table. For he who serves is not he who sits at the table. Yet I am among you as one who serves. But you are those who have continued with me in my trials, and I bestow upon you a kingdom, just as my Father bestowed upon me, that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on the thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Jesus predicts Peter's denial. Wow. Jesus predicts Peter's denial. Sorry about that. And the Lord said, "Simon, Simon, indeed, Satan has asked for you that he may sift you as wheat. But I prayed for you, and your faith should not be a fail. And when you have returned to me, strengthen your brethren." But he said to him, "Lord, I am ready to go with you, both prison and to death." Then he said, "I tell you, Peter, the rooster will not crow the day before you will deny me 3 times, and you will know me." Okay. Wallet, bag, and sword. And then he said to them, "When I sent you without money bag, sack, and sandals, did you lack anything?" So they said, "Nothing." Then he said to them, But now he who has the money bag, let him take it, and likewise the sack. And he who has no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. For I say to you that this which is written must be still accomplished by me. And he was numbered, and the transgressors for the things concerning me to have an end. Then they said, O Lord, look, here are the two swords. And he said to them, it is enough. A prayer in the garden. And coming out, he went to the Mount of Olives as he was accustomed, and his disciples also followed him. He came to the place. He said to them, pray that you may not enter into temptation. And he was withdrawn from them and about one stone's throw, and he knelt down and prayed, saying, Father, if it is your will, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. And then the angel appeared to him from heaven, strengthening him. And being in the agony, he prayed for earnestly, and his sweat became like great drops of blood falling down to the ground. When he rose up from prayer, and he had come to his disciples, he found them sleeping from the sorrow. Then he said to them, why do you sleep? Rise and pray, lest enter the temptation. Betrayal and arrest in Gethsemane? I don't know how to pronounce that word. And while he was still speaking about the whole multitude, and he was called, Judas was the 12, went before them and drew near to Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus said to him, Jesus, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss? When those around him saw what was going on to happen, they said to him, Lord, shall we strike with one sword? And one of them struck the servant and the high priest and cut off his right ear. But Jesus answered and said, permit even this. And he touched his ear and healed him. Then Jesus said to the chief priests, captains of the temple, and the elders who came to him, have you come out as a robber with swords and clubs? When I was with you daily in the temple, you did not try to seize me, but this is your hour and the power of darkness. Peter denies Jesus and weeps bitterly. Then having arrested him, they led him and brought him into the highest priest's house, and Peter followed at a distance. Now when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the courtyard and sat down together, Peter said amongst them, a certain servant girl seeking him as he sat by the fire looked intently at him and said, this man was also being with him. But he denied him, saying, women, I do not know him. And after a little while, another saw him and said, you're also one of them. But Peter said, no, man, I am not. Then after about an hour, he passed another confidently affirmed, saying, surely his fellow also was with him, for he is a Galilean. But Peter said, man, I do not know what you are saying. Immediately while he was still speaking, the rooster crowed. And the Lord turned and looked at Peter, and Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had said to him, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Then Peter went out and wept bitterly. Jesus mocked and beaten. Now the men who held Jesus mocked at him and beat him. And having blindfolded him, they struck him in the face and asked him, saying, prophesy, who is that struck you? And many other things they blasphemically spoke against him. Jesus faces the Sanhedrin. I don't know what the word is. As soon as it was day, the elders of the people, both chief priests and scribes, came together and led him into their council, saying, if you are the Christ, tell us. But he said to them, if I tell you, you will by no means believe. And if I also ask you, you will by no means answer me or let me go. Hereafter the Son of Man will sit on the right hand of the power of God. Then they all said, are you then the Son of God? And he said to them, you rightly say that I am. And they said, what further testimony do we need? For we have heard it ourselves from his own mouth. Whew. That was chapter 22. Thank you for tuning in and staying with me. We're almost done. Tomorrow is chapter 23. So see me same time, same place. YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, 3 p.m. And I think we only have like 2 more chapters left and then we're done. So thanks for tuning in. Hope 70 Let's talk, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love y'all. Mwah.